Who's controlling us? Who's controlling your world? Who's telling you how to live your life? Is it your family? Is it your neighbors? Who? Who in this world, all over the world, tells each one of us how to live our life? Let's take that question up in coffee talk. Everybody gather around. Let's sit and talk about this very seriously, folks. I mean, it's just coffee talk. That's all it is, but still we can get a lot accomplished during our coffee talk. So get your coffee, get your tea, get your whatever it is that you're drinking, and let's discuss this. You know, we talk about a lot that God is in control, and this is in control, and that's in control, and we are in control. But really, sure? Are you real sure? Well, you know, I'm sitting here in my little home and my little camper, and just like so many of you folks are sitting there thinking that, well, you're going to do this today, or you're going to do that tomorrow, or I'm really thinking about doing this or whatever. But then, of course, and then when uh, you go out to the store and you say, well, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, and but when you get there, it's not that way at all, because somebody behind the counter is saying, well, no, we don't do it that way here. We can't. You can't do that here. You can't buy that here, or different things. It's just different things. It's okay. Like when you want to say you own your own home, and you want to add on to it. And of course, lo and behold, you start adding on to it, or somebody from somewhere comes from out of nowhere and says, no, you gotta have a permit to do that, and it's gonna cost this amount of money, and so you go and you see about the permit, and they'll tell you all the reasons why you can't do it, because the ground is this, or you're in the wrong region, or you're in the wrong zone. Well, you can't have a pond on your property because of the levels, or because of this, or because of that. You can't have 50 chickens because you're in the city limits. Uh, Different things, things like that. So, who in that instance is telling you how to run your life? Yes, we have children that tell us how to run our life. We have that for sure, but that is still up to us too. And so we have all these companies out here that telling us what we can eat and what we can't eat. And you say, well, how's that happening? Well, we got it in our minds. Maybe we want to have we want to make a spaghetti dinner. Well, we got to go out to the company, to the grocery store, and we got to buy whatever it is that you make your spaghetti with. And now we're told to eat healthy, but we go out and we do that, and we start hearing this over here and this over here, and this person is getting on YouTube and telling you that, well, that's bad for you, this is bad for you, and various things, and it's it gets very detrimental. You know what I mean? By the time you get done listening to all that, and then you go to the grocery store to buy what we once made spaghetti out of, it's got 30 different ingredients in it that your doctor very clearly has told you if you get into your diet and stuff. Now, of course, here's another aspect of other people telling us how to run our lives and stuff, and it's the medical system. Well, you can't eat this because it does this to you. Well, you got to take this medicine because it'll alleviate the symptoms of something we can't cure. But they don't tell you that. You can't eat bread anymore because it's got this, and this in it. So you've got all these companies out here, and basically, bottom line, what I've concluded, that, how do I want to say this? The companies have picked up on what people need to sustain themselves and what people need to live their lives. And because all the essentials, naturally, we need food, we need water, we need air, we need warmth. And some people with certain sicknesses need to be cool because their body gets overheated. So the list just goes on and on and on. And I made a few notes, and I don't know, but here's the thing. We have all these companies out here. We have the government, we have the companies, we have individual governments in each city, each county, each state, each country, that tells us, human beings, but it's being told by other human beings that have taken over and telling us how to run our lives. Now, yes, there is reasons for a lot of that you have your police, you have your authorities that need to put justice out there, need to put laws out there to keep people that have wicked thoughts and want to hurt people. They want to scam people. They want to eliminate people. They want to bodily hurt people. They want to control different aspects of other people's lives in a hurtful way, a wicked way. And there are many, many, many different forms of wickedness. And there's many different avenues to achieve wickedness. Boy, my nose is itching. And we've seen many avenues of that, but we've never stopped to look at the fact that wickedness is just a way humans control others so that we're not living the life that we were meant to live. And for greed and for to enhance their own lives. And it is wicked. I mean, there's, like I said, there's many forms of wickedness. There's wicked thoughts that will push you into doing things immorally. there's wickedness and greed and people wanting to rule over other people and be in charge of other people. The Whereas it used to be a time that helping other people with growing food and but now it's become so wicked in their minds that they've got to have, that, and they will achieve it by any means possible by putting all these ingredients in food that used to be free, that used to be good for us, which is no longer good for us anymore, and it's kind of pushing us in a not such a healthy state. And of course, you don't look. A lot of people don't look at, which, and I hadn't looked at it as wicked, but it has since come to my mind that it is wicked. It is wicked to charge us for water and food, which was very clearly given to us, to humanity, to live a goodly life, abundant life. We were meant to have life and have it more abundantly. And but we have allowed other people that want to do better to take it in a direction of wickedness. And we depend on other people instead of trying to figure it out for ourselves. Like say for instance, and this is from scriptures, and a lot of you will know this story. The pool of Bethesda, how do you say it? Bethesda. Bethesda, I don't know. It was in Jerusalem, and that is John 5:3-4, and it was a water pool that they had set up. It was in cement, and they had it filled with water, and there was different seasons that a so-called angel would come down and stir the waters up, and whoever got there first was the one that got healed. And so there was many people around there. Many, I mean, for instance, there were 5 porches, and around those 5 porches were there was a multitude, a great multitude of impotent people that were blind, halt, and withered, waiting on the angel to come and stir up that water so that they could jump in and get healed. A multitude means a lot of people. So there were a lot of sick people depending on that particular episode to happen so that they could get healed. Well, this one guy was there 38 years. He was an invalid. He couldn't walk. 38 years. He wasted his life waiting on someone else or something else that was outside of himself for give him the opportunity. Now, here's the thing. He still had to put himself in that water. But again, mental capacity, mental block, whatever your mindset, he couldn't do it without the help of his friends. Now, according to the story, his friends would haul him over to that one of those porches every morning, and for him to wait there all day long and just lay there. What did he do all day long? I mean, was he not paying attention? What? I mean, was he not being aware of what was going on around him? That he couldn't throw himself in the pool to get healed? 38 years. And that's without even talking about the other people that were there waiting every day waiting on someone else, okay? First of all, he had to wait on his friends to carry him there. And then come back at the end of the day and carry him back home. But he was depending on a system that would heal him. Well, that kind of sounds a little bit like our medical system now, that we go on a regular basis and they'll tell you, well, you got this autoimmune disease, just for an example. And it's because your immune system is attacking different various things. And it's not curable. But we can manage it for you. So we go to this system thinking we're going to get healed. Just like the man at the angel stirring the waters would sit there and wait, knowing, thinking that he was going to get a chance to jump in there and get healed. We go all the time to the doctors and the specialists and looking for a cure when there is no cure. Instead of looking in the right direction, and that is doing something for ourselves. Well, here's what Jesus said. Jesus come by, and his man is explaining to Jesus that he's been there for 38 years waiting for his chance to jump in that pool because he had no friends to throw him in. God. Oh, God. Do you realize, and I'm not perfect by no means, and I'm still doing things that are wrong, that if I was to sit here and wait for somebody or some system to come along and say, well, what do you want to do with this camper? Well, blah, 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 blah. If I was to sit around and wait on somebody else to do what I need done in this, I would never have anybody, or I might have somebody temporarily, but it would have to be done in their time frame and their idea of how it should be done, instead of me jumping in there and finding a way of doing it. And that's what most of us are doing, folks. We're letting other people, other systems, control and tell us how to live our lives. And why is that? Why? Do we not have a mind of our own? Do we not have no kind of idea what it is we want to do with our life? What it is we need? Well, there's a scripture that says that my people perish from lack of knowledge. And that's Hosea 4:6. People don't have the knowledge that they need to know that they can care for themselves and what's going on out there in the world. And there's another scripture in Proverbs that God is saying that his people perish from lack of a vision. So I believe that we allow people out here to control us and to tell us how to live our lives, because for the most part, people that are lacking knowledge, people that don't have a vision, need constructive engagement with other systems and stuff to tell them how to live, because they don't have a vision. You gotta have a vision how you want your life to go. Do you want these companies, these big corporations, telling you what you can and cannot eat? And I'm not talking about SNAP benefits. That, okay, I'd like to eat some peaches. Well, the only thing I can find is this that's been sprayed with chemicals. And I can got the canned peaches, and this is what the companies do to preserve it in the cans, and we're going to charge you $4 for it. And of course, again, we're on some a lot of people, even wealthy people, have to pay that price. So these corporations out here, because of greed, because of the wickedness of their heart, because of the vision that they got in their brain, how they could make the almighty dollar and make money to live the way they want to live, this is what we'll do to sell our product and make it as cheap as possible, but look good. Not always tasting good. Oh, my nose. So, what do you do? What do you do? I mean, are we going to continue to allow people to control our lives? And you might say, well, we have no other recourse. And oh God, I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. Back hopefully. When you say we have no other recourse, well, a lot of people say, well, I got God. But really? I mean, how many of you out there call yourselves Christians and believers, and I'm saying even me, I'm a believer of the great Creator, but how many of us really set out with a vision? Because Habakkuk says, now remember, Proverbs said that my people, who's his people? Believers? Because there are non-believers out there that have a vision for their life. And they are the ones that got these big corporations, these millionaires, these multi-millionaires that had a vision, they wrote it down, and they set out to do it. So you don't have to be a believer or a Christian to have a vision. So Habakkuk 2, well, let me tell Proverbs 29:18 is where God is saying, my people perish from lack of a vision. And I did Hosea 4:6, where people perish because of lack of knowledge. So Habakkuk says 2 through 3, to have a vision and write it down and make it plain. We have a great imagination. We were given the imagination of the Creator, of God. And this universe is made up of frequencies and energy, and there are laws that run that energy and those frequencies. And we as human beings were given an imagination. We were created in the image of the universe, and a lot of people call that God. And Jesus said, go within. He was trying to tell people how to have the life that they want. And go within, where your imagination is. God is our imagination. We have a wonderful mind, consciousness. And we are made up of energy and frequencies. And energy is never created, never destroyed. But Habakkuk said, have a vision. Have an idea. Get your imagination going. And vision yourself in that. Write it down and make it plain. And look at it every day. And envision your life that way. And the energy and the frequency will connect with your energy and frequency and eventually bring that to pass. That is God working in throughout the universe with God's consciousness and energy and frequencies to bring you what you want. We do not need to allow those corporations to tell us and to give us our food. We have the ability to do it ourselves. And I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not, because we've been programmed the way we are today from the time we were born. That's how we get our life in order. That's how we control our lives. We don't let somebody else control our lives. We don't allow greed to get in, because we can too. We can depend on that almighty dollar so much that we try to find ways to scam people, to beat people, to work ourselves to death to get that almighty dollar, to get what we believe that how we need to live. And if we run our lives according to the definition of love, 1 Corinthians 13, look it up, and use what we were given to live a life and live it more abundantly. We do not have to have the greed of money to live a good, abundant life. God is love. The universe is love. You imagine it? We were given this great imagination. Imagine it, and with love, no harm to anybody else. No trying to get the almighty dollar. Live a simple life. Simple life don't mean poor life. Simple life means love your neighbor as yourself. Love yourself, love God, love the universe, love everything in it. Do no harm. Well, I don't know if that made any sense, but coffee talk is coffee talk. Sometimes when we're sitting sometimes when me and my daughter are sitting around, we can say some of the most, but they're true. I mean, just like just a simple chicken. Hearing it out there, it just goes on and on and on, but it knows what it's talking about. We don't. But anyway, coffee talk. We're just sitting around here talking. Food for thought. Look into it yourself. Because, and I forgot to look this up again, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, and that's in Proverbs. But a broken spirit will dry up your bones. And it's in Proverbs 2, as a man believes in his heart, that's how he will go. What you believe up here, in your imagination, and between it and your heart, you will emanate out that energy and those frequencies, and that's what you'll bring in. So if you believe that the world is going to hell in a handbasket and your world is going to hell in a handbasket, that's the way your life will go. But if you believe and you imagine that your life is good, it'll get better and better and better. Like Henry Ford said, if you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're right. So, this is my last coffee for the day, I hope anyway, because, man, I had a hard time sleeping last night. But I'm up and I'm about. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a vision, where there's knowledge, and write it down. Well, I'm going to do more writing down, I'll tell you. And I've already envisioned part of what my house is to look like. And also, keep it to yourself. Don't go around telling everybody what your vision is. Because there's far too many wickedness. And there's people that are wicked that don't know they're wicked. Wicked don't mean just like Linda Blair in The Exorcist that her head spinning around. Wicked can mean gossip. No, you can't do that. That's not possible. That's wicked. Wicked is a very versatile, very many things it can be wicked. If it does not line up with what God wants for your life, then it's wicked. So y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Hugs and kisses.